Welcome to the Normalized 2012 YouTube channel where we are putting off the lie, LYE, and we're embracing who we really are. Today's video is going to be focused on the tips for retaining and maintaining natural hair. It's also going to include my routine that I use to get long natural hair. I do have my notes here. I'm a note taker and I want to make sure that I give you everything that you need to know to have long natural hair. Okay? And let's start off by saying research shows that your hair grows already. Your hair is already growing. It's growing as we're talking right now, okay? And how much of your hair grows in a year depends on, different factors, the environment, genetics, everything. And generally speaking, your hair grows up to 6 inches a year. Most people grow about 4 inches of hair a year. And for me, I grow about between 4 and 6 inches of hair. And how I know that is because there's a time of the year, like the end of the year, I like to measure my hair to see what my hair ended off. Say in 2019, I'll measure my hair to see what it was. And then in 2020, I'll measure it, at the end of the year to see how much my hair, retained in that year. And that kind of lets you know, about how much your hair will grow in a year. It's all about retaining the hair that you're growing. So if you're only growing 2 inches of hair a year, then, these are tips to help you retain, 2 inches of hair in a year. And if you add up all those years together, let's say for me, I've been natural for 9 years. If I'm retaining 4 inches of hair a year, 4 times 9 equals 36 inches of hair. So, and then also you have to give and take with the trims and cuts or whatever that the wear and tear of your hair. And for me, I haven't measured my hair yet, but the last time I measured my hair, I had about 30 inches of hair. So I'm pretty much on track in the number of years that I've been natural. So with these tips, I'm gonna incorporate my routine because my routine is closely aligned with these tips for having long and retaining long natural hair, because it's mainly about retaining hair. It's not about growing it. It's about retaining the hair that you're actually growing. There's things to help facilitate the growth, like, making sure you have a good diet, making sure that if you do take vitamins, taking those. Some people take biotin, but I just think they help facilitate the process. And so let's talk about these tips. My first tip is no or limited heat. And for me, in the 9 years that I've been natural, I've only had heat on my hair twice. This is my second time. In 2013, I got a professional trim by a professional hairstylist who blow dried my hair. And then, like I said, this is my second time using heat on my hair, which was with a blow dry and flat iron. But in the 9 years that I've been natural, I've only had heat on my hair twice. I've never personally used the blow dryer on my hair, and I've never ever flat iron my hair since I've been natural in 9 years. And I feel like not having heat on my hair has eliminated the ability for me to have heat damaged ends and have heat damaged hair to where it won't be able to retain the amount of length that I want to have long natural hair. If you're someone who has heat trained hair, or you're okay with just using heat on your hair, then that's fine. There are people who use heat on their hair regularly and have long hair. That's just not something I did. So that's why I said use limited. So basically not using heat every day. Obviously, if you're gonna have your hair flat iron, make sure you have periods between the flat irons where your hair is reverting back to the curly, so that your hair knows that it's really supposed to be curly and not straight. My second tip is to use your fingers or limited use on the combs. And I talked about this in my product video where I say my fingers, it's my product. And so I finger detangle my hair. I don't use combs other than having to use a comb with this straight hair. Now, in the past, I did use combs. I did use a Y2 comb to comb my hair, but I also noticed that my hair wasn't retaining as much length as I was when I was using a comb versus when I wasn't using a comb. And I would notice that when I would use a comb, I would be much harsher with my hair. I wouldn't, take my time necessarily. I would just, comb through the snags and the tangles. But when I use my fingers, it kind of forced me to actually use my fingers to work through what those snags and tangles were and keeping more hair on my head. If you're someone who, just have to use a comb and you have to use a detangling brush, then just start with finger detangling first to get through some of the harder sections, and then you follow up with the comb or the detangling brush. It's kind of hard for me to demonstrate it right now because my hair is straight today, But whenever I am back to curly, I will have some demonstration videos for you so you can actually see my routine, since today you're just going to hear me talk about it. My third tip would be to get limited trims or not trim as often. Some people have set routines where like, I just got to trim my hair every 6 weeks. I got to trim my hair every, month, every 3 months or whatever. But for me, it's important that you do an assessment on your hair. And by assessment of your hair, taking a look at your ends and seeing if it needs a trim, if it has a lot of split ends, if it feels kind of rough. And for me, I haven't really used stylists to trim my hair. I only used them twice, for when I got my blow dry and then when I got my hair straightened. But for the most part, I've used 3 different methods to trim my hair. The first one is the search and destroy, which I still use today. Even with the straight hair, I'm searching and destroying. By searching and destroying, that means you take the ends of your hair, and normally you do this by sections. So when I'm curly, I divide my hair into 4 sections. Just imagine my hair being curly. So I divide my hair in 4 sections. And then from the 4 sections, I take smaller sections and I look at the ends of my hair. I kind of see, what they look like, if it looks like jagged, if it has any knots. And if it does, you take hair cutting scissors you only use for cutting your hair, sharp scissors, and you cut. You don't cut this off. What you do is, with the search and destroy, you have it separated enough and you kind of go through and you say, okay, for example, like there's a split end. So what I would do is I would just cut right above the split end. Also assess if, making sure there's no split ends down the end of the hair. But I would cut right below that split end and then do that for this whole entire section. If I see a split end, I just cut right below it. And if I see a fairy knot, then cutting right above the fairy knot. Go through each section, and it does take a lot of time. It could take 1 to 2 days depending on how much time you have. Sometimes if I'm just sitting in front of the TV, I'll look at my ends and kind of see what they look like, and then go from there. And you want to do that, maybe I would probably do that like every 3 to 4 months, just because you're doing a search and destroy, and you want to make sure that you're keeping up with that if you're going to use that system only. Another way that I trim my hair is, for example, if my hair was in a twist out or a braid out and it was very old, then I would use my fingers to finger tangle it out to get it as untextured as possible, to where it almost looks like a blowout. And then I would take like the 4 sections again. And then I would pull my hair as taut as possible. So pulling it as taut as possible, and then say, for example, let's say based on assessment of my hair, I know I need like a ½ inch taken off. Then I would, pull it all the way down, try to get as much, making sure you're, finger detangling or using a comb. For this, you probably would want to use like a comb or something on the ends. But making sure, you're pulling as taut as possible, and then knowing that you need to take a ½ inch or whatever inch off, then you just clip it off. And you do that for the entire section, making sure that you take off the exact same amount all around. And then another method I would use is that if my hair was in 2-strand twist this up real quick. And then I will look at the end of my hair where the twist would stop, and just clip like the very end of my hair, like about that much off. Okay, and like I said, you'll do an assessment, see how many times you probably need to do that in a year. In the past couple years, I haven't really done anything, but I do know that my hair, but based off feeling my hair, I did know that I need to trim some of my hair off. And some of it did get trimmed off when I got my hair straightened. And the purpose of getting limited trims is because if you're getting trims frequently, then you're not retaining the length. The hair that's growing out, you're chopping it off as fast as it's growing. So for example, if you grew let's say in the last 2 months you grew an inch of hair, but then the third month you cut off an inch of hair, then you're not gonna see that inch of hair that you retained, that you grew out in the past 2 months, because you just chopped it off in the third month. And if you do that each third month, where you're chopping off the inch of hair that you might grow in 2 months, then you're never gonna see. That's how you know. That's when you hear people say, my hair is not growing. It's because you're chopping off the hair that grew. There's a balance in cutting your hair. You want to cut, like I said, as little as possible, so that you can see the hair that you're growing. And once you're retaining more and more hair, then you can be able to make bigger decisions regarding, okay, I retained 5 inches of hair this year, and I feel like taking off the 1 inch of hair is good for me, or whatever. Fifth tip I have for you is doing low maintenance styles. And by low maintenance styles, doing styles where you don't have to do much with your hair. It's not going to cause too much stress on your hair. And for me, everybody basically knows how to do a twist style. A twist style is a low maintenance style. Putting your hair in a bun is a low maintenance style. So low maintenance styles where you don't have to do too much with your hair throughout the week. You can put it in, twist out today, and then you can wear that. You don't have to worry about doing the twist out over and over again. You can either put it in a bun, you can put it in a pineapple, where pineapple is when you bring all your hair to the front like this. Oh, I'm messing up my hair. You put it all to the front like this, and some people put a band there, and then they put their scarf on it, and then when they take it down in the morning, they're just able to, let's fix this. And then when they take it down in the morning, they just fluff and go. Some people retwist at night, and that's fine. That's still low maintenance, doing like 2 to 4 twists from the twist out. Or sometimes even a trick I use, if I do a twist out, let's say I do a twist out today, then for maintaining the twist out, I might just do 2 plaits or 4 plaits, and that's quick and easy, and it's low maintenance. My next tip is protect your ends. With a protective style, it's basically your hair is protected in a way is not like all out. For example, my hair is not protected because it's all out. And then as far as protecting your ends, this means not having your ends out at all. And for me, when I protect my ends, I protect them by putting them in a bun, and a low bun, or sometimes a high bun, depending on how I'm feeling that day. But for the most part, I'm keeping my hair in a low bun. The next tip I have is doing stretch styles. And by stretch styles, so for me, I like to think that I trained my hair to be long. Whenever I style my hair with my 2-strand twists or braids or whatever, twists or braids, they elongate your hair. So my hair is used to being elongated versus being in the afro or whatever. And so for me, whenever I have my twist out, what I do is, like I said, I put maybe 2 plaits in my hair from the twist out, and then my hair is stretched. It's used to being stretched out because your roots are being stretched. Yeah, so when I say stretch styles, so I do mean like your roots being stretched and elongated type styles. So I don't recommend using wash and goes. I had my TWA or teeny weeny afro. I did do more wash and goes because I was in Spain, and it was just easier. But once my hair started getting longer, I did not do wash and goes because your hair is all out. And whenever you have to wash your hair again, it's just for me, it's just stressful having to start over and detangle all of this and dealing with, it's just too much. So I don't recommend that at all. I just recommend you have your hair in stretch styles where your hair is easy, like where you can basically see the length of your hair. So I've done many twists. You can see that's a stretched style where you can see the length of your hair. Like I said, braids, braid outs. The next tip I have is moisture, making sure your hair is moisturized. And I use the loco method. Some people use the lock method or the LCO method, and I use the loco, LOCO. So the liquid would be the water for me, which is the L. So right when I finish washing my hair, the water that remains in my hair is my liquid. And then I follow up with an oil. And remember in my product video, I talked about the light oils and the heavy oils. And for me, I start with the light oil right after the water to add some moisture. And so that would be the jojoba, grapeseed, or coconut. And I use either one of those. And then I follow up with my C, my cream, which will be my either coconut curling cream from Cantu or my Jamaican black castor oil styling lotion from Shea Moisture. And then after that, I follow up with the O, which is the oil, because you want to lock in everything completely what you've done to your hair. And so the heavy oil I would use is avocado oil. I have used castor oil in the past, and I love castor oil. It's just not what I'm using right now. And so I lock all of that in, and then I twist it up, and then my hair is fully moisturized. Now with the low coat method, I found that my hair stays moisturized longer. And I don't have to refresh my hair with products as often as if I would have used like the lock method, because you're not sealing with the lock method, which is LOC. After the cream, you're not sealing anything in, which is why I add the O on the end, the oil, and you seal everything in. That's gonna keep your hair moisturized longer. It's not, and prevent it from being dry. I think I've mentioned everything, so I want to go through my actual routine. So currently,